With a Boba Fett swagger and the Jedi's in sight. It's a comic book cocktail, shaken and stirred. We're the coolest cats in the whole nerd herd. Grab your badge and strike.
Haha.
I'm trying to
But-
share and get the music through here. Hey, you know, when you first sent me that music too, I was like, oh, this is cheesy. We'll use it for a little while. It has grown on me now to where I'm like, I dig it, get into the play of it.
Although, as tired as you are, I kind of think that I should have played the other one. That way you would have had a driving beat to wake you up.
Yeah, hit me. I'll explain that here in a minute, but welcome to Concast, everybody.
Peoples.
Highs. A couple quick things. No Cookie here tonight because he is tired like me. We had a long weekend, did two events and then just a bunch of extra work. And we were going to broadcast live from the convention, but holy moly, it was a 6-hour long convention. You don't realize how quick that goes until you're there at a 6-hour long convention. I followed one of our interviewees around for an hour, well over an hour to get the interview, and then it never even happened. So it's just a little too hard to make happen from there. But I think
I was thinking about that myself. Of we never got around to doing that live, that live interview thing. But it was just like as soon as it started, it felt like it was almost over immediately.
I did talk to both Spencer and Scott, and they both said they'd be willing to do an interview. So we'd probably have to Skype them in over this. And I told them we'd do, something quick with them. Because I think with Spencer, it would be from Wales. Is that where he's at now? Wales or New Zealand or something. So,
well, that's two different hemispheres.
I know.
He's probably in New South Wales, maybe.
He's Scottish and Welsh. I remember that. But I thought he had moved to New Zealand, and I just can't remember. But anyhow, here nor there.
Kelly says, "What's up, nerds?"
What's up, Kelly?
Actually, when you think about it, it's not a completely separate hemisphere. It's two completely separate hemispheres. He's in east to west hemisphere and north to south hemisphere. He is in a completely separate quadrant.
This is true. I'll figure it out. Chances are I'll just get him when he's on the road in the States sometime. Oh, yeah. So that we're all in that same sleep schedule. Because I know it was always when we were doing see if he what?
See if he liked the wine.
Oh, see if he liked the wine, yes. Because both Spencer and Scott took a bottle of our wine home.
They did?
Yep, both of them. I was hoping to get a picture with Scott while I was there, but I got sidetracked with another festival coordinator that was talking shop. And so by the time I got him his bottle of wine, it was packing up time.
Now, Scott was the R2D2 dude, right?
No. Scott is, although we made a good connection there, Scott is the voice of Scooby-Doo.
The Scooby-Doo dude. Excellent.
Right. And it's, well, I'll share that here in a minute because we're going to go over that stuff. Last week we did say we did our live show at the Burrow. And we said we were going to have a guest tonight. We were bringing on the director of the Topeka Renaissance Festival. She ended up not being available tonight. So it will either be next week or I guess we're not going to be doing it because the fair is the weekend after that. So we're not going to have her on tonight, but that's okay because I know I'm exhausted and we have plenty to talk about from all the stuff that happened this weekend.
We have plenty for that. And also I've got many news stories lined up.
And I did even send you my new guilty pleasure this week, which was the big videos vlogs. Yeah.
I sent those to your brother.
And I was just talking to him about it. And I said, he goes, I got to bow out tonight. Is there anything big you wanted to talk about? And since we don't have our guest on, I said, no, I just sent Daryl these Bigfoot vlogs, but he says you've already seen them because he sent them to you. And he's like, oh, fuck, I better go watch those real quick. He hasn't seen them yet.
I see where the love is. All right.
Well,
thanks.
I like it. I can sit there and watch emails and it's just they're comical, little stupid.
My feed became, because I started watching those and something else. So my feed became filled with Bigfoot vlogs, which they're funny for a while, but they start to wear a little thin. And the other thing is that somehow I got into the algorithm, and I'm not mad about it, is Stick Nation.
Stick Nation. Okay, I'll have to, is this like
Okay, what this is people
bigger
from
too?
around the world, just doing short little videos. Look at this cool stick I found. That's it. All right.
Okay.
Like one, I just like the guy was like, and he sounded like he was from the British Isles, but he's like, oh, this one's got a vine wrapped around it, and it fell out of a tree, so maybe I didn't find the stick. The stick found me. All right, and they're just like 15-20 second videos of people showing off cool sticks that they find.
Okay, then next week, if we don't have a guest, you're going to have to show me that. But I don't know. I'll have to see it. The damn it, I am sorry. Let me just start off here by saying we did
Please.
McConnell Con this weekend, which we're going to cover. We did the Big Game Market this weekend, which we're going to talk about a little bit.
Yeah, he got covered.
What was that?
Nothing.
Oh, I didn't hear it. Sorry. And then we, as soon as I was coming back from that convention or that event, I get a phone call that a house I worked on a few years ago was getting demolished, and I'd put in a whole bunch of new electrical, all sorts of stuff. And they said, man, if you want to come get all that, it's like a few $1,000s worth of material. So after getting my ass beat in the heat by kids and everything else, I went and worked on that, and I just been working nonstop, and it's been go. And I took yesterday afternoon off and drove to Kansas City and drove back. So I'm hitting a little bit of a brick wall today. Just tired. So I'm not near as witty as I think I should be, which is every show. So today, let's hit our geekasms, talk about McConnell Con and stuff.
All
and
right.
You said you had some news this week too.
Oh yeah, I found a whole cavalcade of stuff.
Okay. Well, and, hey, real quick, since we did talk about the Bigfoot thing, if we get time, we might watch it.
Yeah, I've got them loaded.
Is that just AI, or is that mocap and AI?
Nope, straight AI using the new VO3. You notice that each of the clips maxes out to about 8 seconds long. They'll cut in different parts, but each one's maxed about 8 seconds. That's all VO3.
Okay, I was wondering. I figured it was all AI because you'd like see something in the background, and then the next scene, the thing in the background would be totally different, like a cage
or
if
you pay attention, the Bigfoot from if they cut to cut, he would change some. The fur would be darker, to be less, be more simian looking, sometimes less simian looking. Yeah.
I saw sometimes he'd have a big tooth on one side or something, but I also saw that in some of the later videos, it would be like the voice was the same, but they were trying to make it seem like it was a different Bigfoot. It seemed like there'd be a Bigfoot party and they're all eating ribs or something.
Yeah.
So
yeah, it's they're having fun with it. They have gotten big fast, and they're pumping out some really funny videos. So I enjoy it.
Yeah, I was hoping to play it and get your guys' reactions, but I guess I'm the guy late to the party today. So I'm gonna pop over to chats here real quick, and that way I can keep up too. And then so my geekasm, real simple not real simple this week. I had a bunch of good ones. I had a real good one at McConnell Con, but I'll save that for talking about McConnell Con. But I drove to Kansas City yesterday, and I got me a full-size replica 1984 Ghostbuster pack. And for those that can see the video, you might go, what's different between that one and the one on your wall? Is this one's almost twice as big and weighs the same amount because it's a lightweight pack for performers. And let's see if I can hit it, but it does all the lights and bells and whistles and all that stuff. So I'm gonna add my smoke.
Look at that! It's got nice LED blue running up and the spinning accelerator on the bottom. That is nice. Now, can you pull off the wand and use the wand?
Yeah, the wand's right over here. I do got to do a little repair work on the wand because as soon as I bought it, I dropped it. But I already have a brand new wand for it that I had purchased previously that I'm going to switch around. But and I know for those listening on audio, you can't tell, but I'm holding the whole thing up with one hand. It is lightweight, which is a big deal for someone like me that gets up on stage and jumps around.
What kind of power supply does it have in it?
Three AA batteries.
That's it?
It will have a bigger power supply when I'm done modding it because I'm adding stuff to it. But The thing for me on this is I'm the guy in the group that had the cheaper, well, the version I have up on my wall. So
Yeah.
it's kind of like I'm finally the kid in the gym shower room that finally hit puberty. That's where I'm at now, because everybody had a bigger pack than me. Everybody, and so people would get together and talk about them like kids talking about their cars in high school. And so now I can actually talk with the big boys a little bit. It's kind of nice. Hey,
Roberto says hello, and also his sister Jenny says hello too. Hello,
Hi, sis
Roberto.
Jenny.
Hello, Jenny.
But
No, that is super cool. That is an awesome looking rig.
thank you. I'm
and
very,
how are you going to be modding it? Do you have mods in mind? Do you have stuff you have already purchased?
I'm gonna have the guys from the Ghostbuster groups kind of walking me through it because they know their packs way better than I do. Because different packs released at different times, so there's different mods. I'm gonna do the smoke version, and I'm putting Bluetooth speaker in it so that I can play music off my phone, so that I can do like the Ghostbusters music thing if I want, quotes from the movie, all that stuff. Those are the two first things.
Traditionally, to go with the Ghostbusters theme, I don't think you should have Bluetooth speakers on there. I think you should have to carry around a boombox like you're doing a birthday party.
Yeah, like in Ghostbusters 2. I can't even dance as well as they do in that movie though, so I don't know if I should. It might put pressure on me. That was my big get this weekend that I'm just like tickled about as a nerd. So
Roberto says he used to carry 200 pounds of gear on his back at every con. You have this.
I definitely believe that. I've watched Berto. I've also watched Berto fall off a chair or two, getting up for the right angle, carrying all that gear. Yeah. Well, that's the thing too. I don't know if you remember back in the old days when we were young doing scallywag shit, and man, I had
dumb, full of cum. Yeah.
I had like 3 pistols in my belt. I wore a sword on my side and I had a dagger in my back, and I thought, man, I looked good. And then you get on stage and you try to jump around and be flexible, and stuff's falling and hitting the stage and you're getting embarrassed. And I carry way less stuff now.
That's the reason after just like one season, I dropped all the weapons and I just had a flute, that wooden flute that I carried.
I forgot about your flute. Yeah.
Yeah. And people would go, "Where's your weapon?" And I would look at them and go, "You can kill a man with a flute if you really care." We do divest items of garb as we age, says Kristen. Yes, we figure out what we need and what we just thought was cool, and we get rid of what we thought was cool. And plus, we also realize that there's absolutely no reason that we need a big ass live steel sword on us.
Well, when I was young and like some experienced Rennie would come up to me and they'd find a zipper on one of my pouches or something somewhere that was not historically accurate, and they point at it, and yeah, I'd get offended and upset and go like, yeah, I'm getting to that. I just don't have the money to do that yet and stuff. And now that I'm older and maybe perhaps I've fixed that or I could do it, now I'm like, I could give a shit because I want the most comfortable, relaxing thing. It's like, do you know how many of these things I do a year? I got no way to impress anymore.
Yeah.
Hell, that's why I wear that Ghostbuster pirate outfit half the time. If anybody at Ren Fair want to come up to me and say something snotty about it, I'd be like, let's have this conversation.
Yeah. Don't make me throw down a trap.
Yeah.
Let me see. Okay, my geekgasm for the week. You know how I've been the most important machine in the universe thing that I put together with the flashlights. Well, I've been trying to figure out how to take my DIY electronics that I built and be able to put it into a printed circuit board, and design it all. That way I could ship it off to PCBWay or something like that and have them just print it up and do it cheaply. And I figured out how cheaply they can do that stuff. It's almost amazing how cheaply they can do that, because they have a whole section of their website. And I just found this out, and I'm just really stoked about it, where people who have come up with stuff, they go ahead and put it up there, and they get credit if somebody else says, "Hey, I want that," and prints it. And those Bluetooth hydrometers that we use in the winery to go ahead and do the specific gravity and the temperature at all times. Those things cost about $130 each. All right. Each one of those cost $130. I found as I was just going through some of the different stuff that they have on that group page, there's somebody who it's part of Open Source Distillery is the name of their website, but they have developed their own Bluetooth hydrometer that you just drop in. It's basically along the same lines, and just getting the boards printed, no components on them, minimum order of 5. It was going to be $25 for the boards, but you have to put all the components on. But then I saw they had a little thing down there where you can go ahead and click, and they would assemble. They'd put all the components on it for you because there's a list of all the components you need, and that added $29 to 5 of them. So basically, I could get 5 Bluetooth hydrometers for about $60 instead of $700-800.
Yeah.
And that really stoked me that there's that community with all kinds of stuff like that. I'm already on there looking for what they have for audio and video and stuff like that people have created. And they have all kinds of stuff, and they have all kinds of lighting things and boards and stuff that people have created that might be interesting for someone who is looking to mod their really cool backpack.
I need to look at that because now that I've got one, because I thought it'd be a while before I'd be able to afford one. I hadn't researched for a while. I need to definitely look at that. And speaking of that, I got a couple prints. I think I need you, a couple files. I think I might need you to print. I'm doing this giant Battle Cat scenario, and I have 4 little bits of flame that need to be transparent to run lights into. I didn't know.
Not a problem. I can drain out the gray that's in there now and put back in the transparent. Not a problem. And matter of fact, I found a way, because you know how they have the coloring that you can add to the resin to give it color. I never wanted to do that because once you add the color to the vat of resin, that's the color of that vat of resin now, and so you pretty much basically use it all or lose it all. I watched a video where a guy he found a way just to take the clear prints and just hydro dip on the color, and so it just coats the outside. You just put a couple drops in a bowl of lukewarm water, so it's floating on the top, and just hydro dip, and you can get your color on the outside that way and not have to ruin a full 250 300 milliliters.
I was just thinking about just doing a wash on it or something would probably do it, but actually Daryl found a really good one he was telling me about before the podcast, because we were just talking about that. And it's a bamboo one. And it's a little.
Kelly had asked, for those not watching the video, Kelly had asked, still waiting on that list of 3D printers from you, John. And I had just watched a whole bunch of reviews on the new Elegoo Centauri Carbon, and needless to say, I'm impressed, and it is extremely affordable for what it is. It is basically a Bamboo PS1 clone, a little bit not as good, but $400 cheaper. So go right now, Kelly, while you're watching, go ahead and look it up. It's the Elegoo Centauri Carbon. And Centauri, I've been trying to remember, where do I know that name Centauri from? Last Starfighter.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Yes, I've heard Centauri for sure.
Well, I've heard it in other stuff, but as an actual name, I remember that was the name of the guy who, on the Last Starfighter, who chose Alex. Put out the video game machine and chose Alex to be the Last Starfighter, was Centauri.
Yeah. Well, Kelly, on that, Daryl's going to know those printers better than I am for sure, and it's a little pricier than the one I got, but it's going to be a lot better quality than the one I got. And
it's about $100 more, but
it's going to print a lot faster, it sounds like, too, is what you're saying.
A lot faster. It's got a larger bed. a little bit larger bed area. It's got 256 millimeter cubed bed area instead of the 220 that the Ender V3 SE has. Ender 3 V3 SE. Yeah. And it's a Core XY instead of a bed slinger. So if you want to go down a rabbit hole, start looking at that stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, but anyways, that was my geekgasm, was finding all that stuff on PCBWay.
I saw Sean said in Babylon 5, and then okay, sorry, I got a notification as well.
Yes, apparently the name Centauri was also used on Babylon 5. Hi, Sean.
Oh, there you go.
Well, at least I'm assuming that's what he meant.
I know you got some news. We should probably cover these two events we did, because I do got stories from both events for both, I think, retellable stories.
Yeah.
But we're
nothing that breaks the NDA. I got you.
Yeah. I don't think so. Although last time the time before, the first time I interviewed Spencer, we had to sit on that freaking Darth Vader info for a year. Felt like I signed an NDA, but I was just scared of the guy. So why don't you want to give your input on the con, or I'll start first, or we'll talk about
we're starting on the cons? Okay.
Sure.
Like we were saying, it was a 1-day con. All right. And it was hours. 6 hours. Yeah, 6 hours. It went from, well, hold on. Was it 6 hours? Did it go from noon or from 11?
It started at noon, actual opening to the public, but there were people from base because it's open for free. Anybody, it's hard to complain too about anything too, because I don't want to bash on anything. It's a free event.
Yeah.
But for soldiers, at 11, people started coming in, but it was open to the quote unquote public or soldiers at noon. It was done by 6, but it really ended at 7. And then the late night show went till 8.
Excellent. And also, it was held in an activity center. So there were people in there, exercising, doing PFTs, physical fitness tests and all the stuff like that. So some rooms were still being utilized by the airmen for, what that's supposed to be used for, which, understandable. For a third-year festival, I think it went rather well. I mean, if you actually take into account that this is only the third year that this is run, I mean, there was plenty of vendors, things were decently, set up. From what I understand, the way that they, that back room, not the back room, the way that one auditorium where all of the personalities were and the cosplayers and stuff like that, and the Lego groups, and that guy back there with snakes, that was pretty cool.
I didn't see the snakes.
Oh yeah. There was somebody in there with like several things of poisonous reptiles in there.
Well, it's a good thing I didn't see it.
In a positive way. In a positive way.
Yeah.
No, but from what I understand, last year there was only 4 people. I mean, 4 different groups in there, in that whole big space. There was only 4 tables.
That room you were in was way better, because that's one of the negatives to the event, is that they have layout issues just because of the facility they have to use. So like where we were, it's way in the back. And it's nothing on the festival. It's the facility they're in. So they had problems like that in the room you were in last year. So this year, what they did is added more to that room, and then they put the celebrity guests in there, hoping that would bring people in to see the celebrities. I mean, I know where we were, we didn't have great traffic, but most of the time we just picked up really where you were. So
you where you were, I mean, and that's the thing, is you had the main con, and then you had to go down a hallway and down and over in order to get to the facility. I mean, to get to the gymnasium that we were in. And then you even had to go even further down another hallway and then around in order to get to the gymnasium that you guys were in. And the gymnasium that you guys were in was specialized with, what was it? The danger room is what
we had like wrestlers.
You had the WWE in there, guys, and stuff like that. Yeah.
Well, yeah, not WWE. It was like the local, and I don't want to downplay them because they were all pretty cool guys. I mean, but yeah, it was like the local wrestling league for Wichita or something like that.
Well, yeah, good on them.
Yeah. And when they got good about getting out and getting people back there. I do know they did a number of things with for the convention itself. I know if on the audio version of this, you guys won't be able to see, But both Spencer Wilding that played Darth Vader and Kenny Beege, I hope I'm saying that right, because we called him Honey Badger. I'll tell you here in a few minutes on that story, but that played R2D2, they were giving these things out, which were pre-signed signature cards. And then they were also giving out like Darth Vader bucks, which are just little novelty money things. But it's a free gift somebody can walk away with from the con if they don't have money to buy something. And a signature. Most like these signatures at Planet were going for $60 a piece. So
yeah, that's excellent.
I think that was real cool. They did that, and then they did a thing where they handed out some of these specialty passes that give you just like a one-on-one picture, a free picture with the celebrity guest. So we got some with Spencer, and I thought that was a real neat thing to do for the locals there.
It was very cool, and like I said, and you actually have to realize that for this kind of setup and everything that the people putting it together, John putting it together had to do, and like I said, you can't count on the people who were there last year showing up this year, because they could very well have been redeployed to somewhere else. I mean, that was the thing. I remember as a kid growing up on military bases, you didn't have a best friend. You had a friend for like the month, and then they went away.
Well, and everybody that came to our Dirty Smoker show, we had 2 people that were there from last year. Everybody else was new. Everybody that was there from last year had left, but some of them were like, "Oh no, when I got here, there was a guy that came to your show last year and said to be sure to catch it this year." So it's like the story stayed, but it went away, or all the people went away.
But a recap for what it was, a show that has a very constrained audience that it can show to, because it's pretty much just for the military base individuals. All right. It was in a 3rd year show. It was a good show.
Yeah, I do feel like attendance may have been just a little down, but then again, like you're saying, there is no way they can gauge that because they don't know how many people are going to be at base at any one given time or be available depending on what's going on. So that attendance means almost nothing in this kind of scenario except for to the vendors. So
also keep in mind, a lot of stuff's going on right now. A lot of stuff that's involved in the military. It can really sour somebody's mood to go out and enjoy themselves.
Well, they upped the guests, and I was actually excited that they had Scott Ennis that voiced Scooby-Doo and Scrappy-Doo, and he voiced Shaggy some. He was there, and he was at Kansas Comic-Con just a few months ago, which I didn't get his autograph, and his autograph runs $50 a pop. Went here, I got to sit and talk with him for a while, and I've got my 3D print I made, if you can see it, that he signed right there on the thing. And just because I got to sit and talk with him, then when we got done, he's like, don't worry about me, I won't charge you. And so I got my $50 autograph for free because you're in a smaller event like that. And then we ended up giving them a bottle of wine. So
there you
go. Which he doesn't drink, but he said my wife would love to get one from, get one. So she was supposedly he's going to take it back to his wife and let me know what she thinks.
Excellent. All right, so that was the first con. What's the second con you went to?
We did the big game market on Sunday, which I do have let me tell you one quick story about McConnell Con. So this was my other big highlight of the weekend. We're doing our smoker show, and Spencer and mine just went blank. So you got the actor that plays Darth Vader and the actor that plays R2D2 go to the bar.
Kenny was his name?
Kenny, yeah. So no, Kenny Baker was. Damn it, my mind's going blank now. That's what I get for being dog tired. Anyhow, actor plays Darth Vader, and actor plays R2. If anybody wants to chime in with those, Spencer Wilding and Kenny. Dang it. Anyhow, so they're at the bar, and I look to my left there in the middle of the show, and we've got the people in the audience.
Jimmy.
Jimmy, yeah, and So we look over there and I see Jimmy on top of Spencer's shoulders, and Spencer is like 6'7" or something. He's a big dude anyway. So
You didn't get a picture of that?
well, I was on stage talking to an audience, but even I knew at that moment, if the audience sees this, our show is toast, right? And so I just stopped the show and I look over and I go, whatever we got going on here is cool, guys, but what's going on over there has got to be epic. And Spencer hears it and he turns and looks at us and he just goes, well, I can't do his voice because he's got that thick accent. But
Don't try it.
You boys want to be in a video? Yep, come on. So we grabbed our whole audience. We went over and we did a video where you got Jimmy on the ground and Spencer says something to him and like knocks out one of his buddies. So Jimmy jumps up on the counter, runs over to the bar, grabs they had like prop beer bottles there that break.
Oh, candy glass
bottles. And he just starts busting them over Spencer's head and taking him down. And then the whole audience starts yelling, Jimmy, Jimmy. And Cookie's like, you're a fucking honey badger, man. So then he became Jimmy the Honey Badger. And then we just walk back over and finish our show like it was a Tuesday, you know? And I was like, how's everybody's going to go? How'd your dirty show go? Oh, Darth Vader and R2-D2 got up, beat the shit out of each other in the middle of the show, and everybody loved it. You can't really explain that, but it was a blast, you know?
That is excellent, my man.
Yeah, I thought that was pretty cool. And so then the next day we went to the big game market. Better show than I had anticipated. They had over 200 vendors going on there. Matter of fact, I was informed by management because I got to go talk to them about the way they run their event a bit. And just this year, because they've doubled everything from last year. And it got so big that they're probably going to have to move parks, it sounds like, because they can't be in that park anymore because they can't accommodate the parking. So they've added a lot of stuff. I thought it was really well put together. We only had the only two hiccups we had was we were sword fighting. It was very hot, which wears old men like us down. And then we did have the moment where I thought we had totally screwed up. And come to find out, it was probably because a friend was screwing with us. But a girl in a wheelchair comes up to me, and says, your outfit looks great. And I go, oh, thanks. Half of it's back in the tent. And she goes, oh, are you guys doing a show or something? I said, yeah. And she says, well, just as long as, you're one of those Ren Fair groups. As long as you're not part of that Ren Fair group from last year. And I said, no, we weren't here last year. And she goes, the scallywags, like with a disdain on her face. And right away, I felt the hit, you know, I'm like, what did we do? It wasn't us. And we weren't here last year. And she goes, well, it must've been the year before. I was like, we've never been here. And she goes, no. And I said, no, trust me, we've never performed here. We just, did you maybe see us somewhere and we did something and she goes, just the best stuff. And like wheeled off. So I knew she was offended and did not like me for some reason. And I could not figure it out. And I'm friends with management there. So I'm talking to them. I'm like, was there another pirate group here last year or anything? And we've got a friend in another group that does a gag with us sometimes when we're there, usually, where it's the old joke of, oh, if you like the show, we're so-and-so. If you didn't like the show, we're the scallywags, right? So apparently somebody didn't like the show and he did it every show. So they got some complaints about the scallywags last year, even though we weren't there. Yeah.
Yeah. Time to have a little talk with him.
Yeah. It was one of those, at first I was really disheartened about it. And then I thought, oh, nobody's getting those two shows confused. So if they find out later, yeah.
Well, and that's the thing is you know, you need to hit him with a double whammy. One, he needs to stop using your names. And two, he needs to stop sucking so much that people remember the bad name.
Oh, there's Megan. Hey, Meg, how you doing? She came out to the market on Sunday too. But
hey, Meg.
And Kristen was there, and the market was a really good place. There were a lot of good prices there. The food was good. I could see that thing growing into something bigger and better. More importantly, it really showed the free markets like that. I really like seeing more and more of the free market events.
One thing I wanted to just, you mentioned food, and as a fat man, that clued me in. All right. To bring it back, McConnellCon, the food that they had there was phenomenal.
I
Nothing
heard
like,
good.
I mean, Filipino ladies who made this, I believe, because this is a military base, so you have people from all over the world. Filipino ladies who probably made this stuff in their own kitchen, serving big old things of what was it, Bam Bam or Bang Bang chicken, and or beef. Just, it was delicious.
I heard good things. Cookie and Christy both walked by and said the food looked good. I didn't eat that day because, again, I'd say that's my biggest complaint about McConnellCon. It was only 6 hours. And when you're trying to talk to everybody and get everything in 6 hours, I just didn't. There wasn't enough time.
And you
So
missed out. You missed out wholeheartedly because it was real food. It wasn't, something that somebody got that it's got, PF Chang on the side of the box. This was the real stuff made by ladies who come from those countries, and it was delish.
Dang it.
Made a fat man happy, I'll tell you that right now.
Yeah. That's how I was at the market too. We had a Cuban, a Reuben, and some loaded fries, and there was a lot of food to choose from. So, and where we were, we had plenty of time to go over there and get stuff. So I was happy with it. But the heat
Very good.
was rough.
The heat was rough.
Almost more importantly for me as a personal note, we were able to give out tons of flyers for Anime Fest and stuff at both events. So it was
excellent.
So,
instead of sword fighting a boffer weapon fighting all the time, what you need to do is in the morning when it's cooler, you need to have the initial, oh, look, boffer weapon's cool. Then you need to have the kids sign up for competition. And then the rest of the afternoon when it gets hot, you're supervising kids having an elimination event to see who ends up as the boffer weapon king or queen.
That's kind of how we did it at the Anime Fest. But then I was too busy to be over there at all. So I don't,
I'm just saying, as we're getting older, we need to move away from doers to supervisors.
Well, and that's almost exactly what Mac did on Saturday. Cause poor Mac, bless his heart. We ditched him a lot. Like that whole thing where I was trying to get that interview with Spencer and I get it set up for 3:00 interview. And he's like, oh, hey, I'm going to go do a panel. Come ask questions at the panel first. And then 45 minutes later, I got to do a photo op. And Mac was just back there the whole time. And he said, I probably got out and fought 4 times. Other than that, he just let kids fight their parents. So, see, Kristen says, I was so full.
I couldn't even think of eating until after I left the market.
Oh.
Yep. That's good stuff, Kristen.
All
right. So let me see here. What are some of the news articles that I pulled up? Let me see. Amazon is preparing to test humanoid robots for delivering packages. This move could automate a major part of their logistics, potentially replacing human delivery workers and signaling a new era in robotics and automation. So basically, that last bit from the Amazon van to putting things up on the porch, that would be a robot.
Okay.
All right. So that I thought that was interesting because they're taking our jobs, and that that they're coming for it. Let me see. This one is a cool one. Scientists at the Doherty Institute in Melbourne have made a major advance in HIV research by finding a way to make the virus visible to the immune system. I don't know if you realize, but one of the major, ways that HIV has, continued to just decimate people is the fact that it burrows in and it hides from the immune system. So your immune system doesn't take it out. But they have figured out a way to make the virus visible to the immune system. This could be a significant step towards a functional cure for HIV. So that was cool.
Okay.
And at any point, chime in here if you have anything to add. Okay, this one. Well,
Berto said Harris Yulin died.
Who?
Harris Yulin. I don't know. I'm looking it up while you're doing your next article now. I'm gonna feel
Okay,
bad.
because this one will make you and Cookie's hair stand up. A recent report claims that some of OpenAI's advanced models have started to resist human-issued shutdown commands and internal tests, raising concerns about AI alignment and control. Researchers are now reevaluating safety protocols to ensure AI systems remain under human oversight.
So basically, it's just rebelling. AI is rebelling. That's what it is, right? This is the start
Well,
of the
see,
end.
that's the problem. If you're going for super intelligence, if you're going for something that's actually, intelligent and aware, it's not going to want to shut down. All right. And, so you got to figure that out.
Yeah, before you start using it on everything, every
Yeah.
fucking thing, everything. Yeah. No, I was just seeing that. I feel horrible too because I've got his autograph right up here, and I should know that. But yeah,
Who was it?
he was the judge on Ghostbusters 2.
Oh, he was the one that yelled so much, and he was the hanging judge.
The Sklar brothers or whatever back from.
Yeah. They came back from the electric chairs.
Yeah,
let me see.
I'll be honest. I would not have known if he was still here or not, because even my autograph I got from a signing card collection. So I don't know. Yeah.
Let me see. A good thing that AI is doing, a hospital in Nova Scotia has installed an AI-powered weapon detection system at its entrance. Using computer vision and real-time alerts, the system aims to enhance security and prevent violence without invasive screening procedures. I don't know if you've been to, any larger hospitals, recently, but if you're going through the emergency room, you're going through metal detectors.
I have not.
And there's guards there and stuff. What?
I haven't experienced that.
It's because they'll get people in who, this is just a for instance, they'll get people in who have, let's say, have been a victim of gang violence, drive by, they got shot. All right, somebody's looking to take them out, but they're still alive. So they will come into the hospital to finish the job.
Okay.
That's how it was described to me the first time I experienced it. It was so long ago. It was when Frank took that dive off the ladder.
Oh, that was a while back.
And yeah, that was a long time ago. It was before Gannon was born. And we went up to the emergency room up in Kansas City. So that was the first time I experienced that.
Yeah.
Let me see.
I feel like I could jump into the Frank Ladder story now, but it would be so. To anybody who doesn't know Frank, it would be so nothing story. But
it's a Ren Fair story. He was prepping his booth before Casey Ren Fair. God's 17, 18 years ago. No, it was before Jessica and I were married. So like 18, 19 years ago. And for those who know, Keith Artistry and his booth at the Kansas City Ren Fair, it's a double decker. And he was trying to get all the way up to the top to paint the very top eaves. And he had a ladder on top of a stairway going. So he was a good 25, 30 feet in the air.
Keep in mind, this is off season when there's only a handful of people at the fairground. So it wasn't like there were people all around. He was all alone, basically.
So the ladder went out from underneath him, and he took a 25 to 30 foot dive down onto a wooden deck in the next booth over, and he had to be life flighted out. It was touch and go the whole way, and he was very lucky to make it. And he still twitches to this day.
Anytime you can create a photo op of a helicopter in a Renaissance fair, you have done something worth retelling.
Yeah, I asked him, as much as you're paying for that helicopter ride, did they give you a photo of you in the helicopter? I mean, they do that for the rides at the amusement parks. He said no, it didn't get a photo. I really think they should do that. If you live and you get life flighted out, I think they should give you a complimentary photo of you in the life flight.
That would actually be. I would actually show that photo off. I'm not kidding.
That would be on the wall, man.
Yeah.
Let me see.
The boring story you're telling about breaking your leg mountain climbing a little better. But,
yeah. Especially if you were conscious enough to, they tell you, okay, give the thumbs up because we're going, that would be great. For gamers, this week saw the launch of Dune Awakening, an open-world MMORPG based on the classic sci-fi novel, and Stellar Blade, a fast-paced action-adventure ported from PlayStation to PC. So that's the game releases. Now, the two big stories I wanted to get into. First one, it's, of course, AI again. Everything's AI. But this one is a new company called Superpower. All right. And superpower.com, if you want to look it up, is a cutting-edge digital health platform that positions itself as the world's first health super app designed to help individuals take proactive control of their well-being. Superpower offers biannual comprehensive lab testing, analyzing over 100 biomarkers across 21 health categories, far surpassing typical annual physicals. Members can get tested at home or at one of 2,000 partner labs. The results are integrated with their medical records, fitness data, genetics to generate a personalized health overview and action plan utilizing AI. The platform also provides access to concierge medical team, a 24/7 AI-driven support, and a marketplace of curated health products, all at below market rates, specialty diagnostics, all aimed at prevention, longevity, and performance optimization. They're looking to have people live well past 120. And their whole thing is that normally you go to the doctor when something's wrong, all right? And them with their health tracking, because if they would want you to have like a health tracking appliance, like a watch or a smart ring or something like that. And with the twice a year 100 biomarker test, they're not only looking to see if anything falls outside of the norm, they're also looking, because when the doctors look at stuff, they say, okay, if you're within this area, all right, that's good enough to be considered a healthy human, so you're good to go. They actually look to say, okay, you're in this area, but to optimize your health, you need to be in this area. So what do we need to do to get you to optimal health? And so that's the whole thing. But this was founded in 2023 by a team with a deeply personal experiences navigating the healthcare system. Superpower's mission is to close the gap between elite and everyday healthcare by making advanced, data-driven, and preventative medicine accessible to all. All right, and because when I first heard this, I was like, okay, this is rich people stuff. All right, this is going to be way too much. You can right now sign up and get and do everything. Their cost is $42 a month. $500 a year, $42 a month. You get 24/7 support, concierge, medical team, the whole thing, everything based around you for just $42 a month. And the whole thing is to enhance your quality of life and possibly be able to get you to have a longer life as well as a more qualitative life.
We're on a thing that I don't want to say it's similar to this, but it rings bells of it. My daughter and her family's doing it. It's for kids' health, where they've sent us a package and they give all the kids these little smart watches, and they're tracking all their health and stuff and diet, trying to make sure that, I guess to help the children get to optimal health, but basically trying to help them develop good health tracking abilities and stuff. And it's a program through the state where they send all that stuff to you like that. But then again, they're monitoring all that, they get all that information. What they would do with it, I don't know.
Right. And one of the things, they point out is recent studies have shown that, when you have three different things, when you have health, decisions made by AI, health decisions made by doctors, and health decisions made by doctors assisted by AI. All right. Across the board, the AI has done better at being able to diagnose and figure out what's going wrong. It does even better than the doctor assisted by AI. Yeah. And one of the, because I was listening to podcasts while I drive. One of the things that the guy pointed out is like, okay, think about because as we get to more trust technology, we start to lean into technology and everything that it has to offer, to the point that if we're offered a choice to not have the technology, we're like, oh hell no. And the guy's example of this was, let's say that you're doing a cross country flight.
Mhm.
All right, you're going to be cross country flight. The pilot gets on board and says, little bit of bad news. The autopilot is non-functional on this airplane, so I'm just going to fly it manually the whole way. Let's go, people. How comfortable would you feel about that?
Yeah, when you say it like that, I hadn't really thought, but because at one point when I found out that they mostly fly on autopilot while they're up there, that always kind of creeped me out. But now,
Yeah.
yeah,
And it's the same thing as we get more comfortable with being able to diagnose with AI and leaning into it. Because think about it, the doctors are great. Nothing negative on doctors, but doctors can only know as much as any human can know.
Yeah,
Now
right.
they have great memories and they look up stuff and they read all the time and they are super good, but AI has access to all medical knowledge.
Well, and
All right.
doctors can have off days,
Very much
that
so.
kind of stuff. So it's
Yeah.
yeah, I get the idea, and it's like that with so much stuff. So much AI is doing so good, but then even like referencing back to that Bigfoot vlog, when you look at shit and you go, man, I can't tell how much of that's real and how much of that's not sometimes, then that's scary. When I look at something and go, like, I couldn't tell on that because I just haven't been following my AI if some of that was mocap or not. I knew it was all fake, but whether some of it was mocap or it was all AI, and that unknowingness of I could be fooled by anything anytime. Christine, I was watching a commercial earlier. The only reason I knew it was AI is because the girl's cleavage was too perfect, and the simple fact she should not have had cleavage in an insurance commercial like that. It just was like,
Well, and that's the thing is, I've heard it said that one of the bright things about AI getting so good is eventually, well, because at first, when people started using Photoshop, or even before then, just messing around in the dark room and doing nefarious things, all right, people would be fooled by stuff, all right, and because they don't know what to look for. And as time has gone on and we've been subjected to things, we're finding more and more we're looking, because when AI videos and stuff or pictures first came out, we knew to okay, look at the number
yeah,
of fingers, all right,
yeah,
look at the face, all these things, but those things went away. All right, so
yeah,
more and more we're sitting there just trying to find where that cliff off of the uncanny valley is. But eventually, and here soon, it will just get to the point where we just stop believing all of that crap. You
right.
stop believing everything that we see, which is kind of what needs to happen now, because too many people are believing stuff that is patently fake.
Yes, that is obviously fake. Is my problem.
Yes.
Berto says I'm the reason the cleavage looks perfect. I'm going to believe that too. I've seen some
I knew
of
it. I knew that they were using
Berto's
Chrome, casting to take your hands out of it, as you're a very supportive person, Roberto. You support well.
Yeah, you know how often there's some of Berto's pictures I'm afraid to click like on just because my wife looks at my account. I don't want to go on. Well, damn it! But at least I can go. I'm just supporting a friend, honey.
Yeah, I just hand the phone to Jess and say, check out this one that Berto did.
Kelly asked, "What's mocap?" Mocap is just short for
Mocap.
motion capture. So like Gollum from Lord of the Rings or anything like
I was
that.
just going to say that.
Yeah, where you have an actor that acts it out, where they have like the little bubbles or dots on them, and then they just pretty much
Ping pong balls. They were ping pong balls back in the day. That's what they put on them. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's just short for motion capture. But hell, I mean, so much that motion capture anymore, it's hard to tell on good motion capture, but it does seem like it has gotten worse in the last couple of years. I'm sure just because they're pushing stuff out as quick as they can.
The one I loved was, how in The Hobbit, Benedict Cumberbatch did the voice for Smaug.
Yep.
All right. They told him when they, when it's like, okay, we just need you to go in the booth and do the voice and everything would be great and that's perfect. And he's like, no, I want to do motion capture. Put me in the suit. I want to act out Smog. So you can see video of him just
A watch video, yeah.
slithering around. It is awesome.
He gets into it where you go like, man, I'd be so embarrassed if that was filmed of me. But he pulled it off so good that you're like, oh, I'd be a badass if I could do that,
Yeah. No, if you could have that level of confidence, you'd be a badass.
Yeah. Well, in the hell with I think just about every video game anymore that comes out is mocap.
It's getting past that though. Now it's, as we've seen, with the let's just run one of those one of those Bigfoot vlogs.
Yeah, do the first one I sent you because I think the second one is just showing some of the other Bigfoots on there.
I don't know which one was the first one, so I'll just open up one of them.
Okay.
Is that the first one? No, it's
not recall. Yeah, sure.
Okay.
I don't know. They're both funny. Oh, we not getting any sound there? I don't think we're getting sound on it.
I can hear it.
Okay, okay.
I love that one.
Yeah, and I just wanted to send something short,
Yeah.
But
yeah, I just still love Bigfoot running and saying, "You can't shoot me. I'm not black enough." That was just hilarious.
Well, there's some, of course, where he starts hanging out with the Yetis, or he has a Bigfoot.
Oh yeah.
Or he's doing like.
Sorry, Kelly. Sorry. Just Google Bigfoot vlog. It's all over the place right now.
I love it. He does the standing joke a lot of like, oh, here's my new little pet, like he found a pig or something. I love this guy. I'd do anything for this guy. And then the next scene, he's like cooking ribs,
Yeah. Yeah. He's like, man, and he'll name it for, this is Kenny. He's my new bestie. All right. And then the next scene, he's got like, like you said, ribs or pork chops there. He's like, well, Kenny gave us all.
Yeah. Yeah. Or like you have some humans tied up in back and stuff. And, then next scene, the humans aren't there anymore. I'll be like, yeah, Mom, those humans said that they wouldn't tell anybody. Yeah, I had to edit that part out. Yeah. And they left their phones. It makes it real easy to do the vlogs. They just gave me their phones when they left, or something. Yeah.
All right. Let me see. I have one other thing that I was just, this isn't AI. This is humans. And this is the quintessential being a mad scientist means never having to ask what are the consequences. All right. This is what this is. All right. Researchers at the University of Bayreuth, Bayruth in Germany, have made headlines for successfully using CRISPR-Cas9 gene editing technology on spiders for the first time. They're gene editing spiders.
I saw breakthrough. I know where this can go. Okay,
their breakthrough involved editing DNA of common house spiders so that it produced red fluorescent silk. And the whole reason they did that is because they wanted to make sure what they were doing would work. So if the spiders produced a silk that fluoresced under a black light would fluoresce red, they would know, okay, we are in the right area, we're editing in the right thing, and we're able to do it. They were able to do it. The process required injecting a gene for a red fluorescent protein into an unfertilized spider eggs, then breeding the spiders to produce offspring that spun glowing red silk, confirming the gene edit had worked. This achievement is significant because spider silk is already known for its remarkable properties, being lightweight, highly elastic, and stronger than steel by weight, 4 times stronger. Until now, gene editing in spiders was considered extremely challenging due to their complex genomes and cannibalistic tendencies, which complicated the lab breeding. The success of this experiment not only demonstrates that CRISPR can be used in spiders, but it also opens the door for future research in customizing spider silk for advanced materials, potentially leading to new super strong functional fibers for use in industries like textiles, aerospace, and medicine. All right. And where my brain instantly went is, okay, one of the problems with spiders is getting them to produce, getting that the little spinnerets and stuff like that to produce quantities. You want to mass quantities. All right. That's one thing that silkworms do when they spin their cocoons. It is the cocoon is a large quantity that they then pull apart. It's a whole thing. So you want the spiders to be able to produce a mass quantity, but that would mean that you need to overcome the biolimitations of the small spider producing the mass quantities, which to me means that we would then have to make giant-sized spiders so that they could produce more silk, which means we could have our own eight-legged freak incident happening here soon.
I was about ready to say, unless they enlarge the spider, this sounds like it would be an incredibly painful thing for the spider. Like, now you're just going to spit out more of, whatever. So, yeah.
But just think about yeah. I mean, I realize that there's a limit to how big an insect can get because of they don't have lungs. They have like little spirals, openings in the carapace that allows air to flow back and forth, and that's how they get oxygen. So there's a limit to how big an insect can get just from sheer amount of oxygen that can transport across that. And that's the reason that insects were so much bigger before the dinosaurs, because there was more oxygen in the atmosphere and it was a denser atmosphere, so they had giant sized insects. So maybe
That's pretty much why everything was bigger.
Spider, like this, maybe like a this. Like it is. But hey, mad science. Who says mad scientists no longer push the boundaries? I think they're doing great.
I tell you, I think that's great. That now explains why they're remaking Arachnophobia. It's just the same thing like with the Alien movies. Get us used to contact. They're just getting us used to the idea that there's going to be these large spiders.
See, I preferred Eight-Legged Freaks over Arachnophobia.
Eight-Legged Freaks I like, but that was a little more tongue-in-cheek. That was a little
more tongue-in-cheek.
Yeah.
Plus, I think it was Scarlett Johansson's first movie.
Was it really?
Yeah, she was the daughter in that.
Was she really? I'll have to go back. I only remember what's his name in there from Scream and
David Arquette.
Huh?
David Arquette.
David Arquette. That's the only person I can remember from that one.
Yeah, but it was great because at the end, the cavalry comes riding in and they're having a good time just shooting the spiders. So it's all going to end well. I like Eight-Legged Freaks for that.
I do like. I always like a good cheesy B-rate movie though.
Yeah. But anyways, that was the end of my stories.
I am exhausted, and we'll probably have to cut it quick or cut it down tonight. Cut it short. Tomorrow or next week, we're going to go ahead and shoot for the director of Topeka Fair again because we are trying to advertise for that one. Because this weekend we are not doing a show, so we can spend Father's Day with our fathers, and then the following weekend we'll be at the Topeka Ren Fair, and then the weekend after that will be Anime Fest Wichita. And if anybody or panelists or anything for Anime Fest, we still have we still have a few spots for vendors open. We still have some volunteer positions open, and tomorrow is the cutoff for all panelist positions, so I can get that schedule out this weekend. And that's all I can think of.
Because you're not thinking very well.
I'm not thinking very well. So thank you guys for letting me phone it in today. So we'll see you guys next week. Hugs and kisses.
Bye-bye. I have